So this is a public hearing concerning a land use bylaw map amendment concerning a portion of two properties located in Grafton, PID 55067425 and PID 50067391. So the proposal is as follows. Branton Cornelson has applied for a land use bylaw map amendment, which would permit a rezoning on a portion of the properties located at 3300 Black Rock Road. So that's a portion of PID 55067425 and 55067391. The properties are currently in the Forestry F1 zone and Agriculture A1 zone. And the intention is to rezone the Forestry F1 and the portion of the Agriculture A1 zone, identified as neither Class 2 nor Class 3 soil, to the Recreational Open Space P2 zone for the purposes of developing a campground consisting of approximately 40 to 50 sites, offering a mixture of camping styles. And I should note that this application was received on October 1st of 2019, prior to the adoption of the new Municipal Planning Strategy and Land Use Bylaw, and therefore is evaluated under the policies of Bylaw 56, the old Municipal Planning Strategy. However, if approved, the land would be rezoned under the old Land Use Bylaw to the Recreational Open Space P2 zone, but would be evaluated in terms of the zone, the Commercial Recreation P1 zone in the new Land Use Bylaw, Bylaw 106, and it would adhere to the new zone standards. So in terms of lot size, frontage, setbacks, etc. So this is a map of the municipality, and you'll note a red circle here, which is the approximate location of the properties in question. You'll note that they are on the kind of the cusp between the valley floor and the North Mountain, centrally located within the municipality. This is an aerial photograph of the two properties in question. The area which is highlighted in red are the portions of the two properties that are being sought for rezoning. So the more northern of the two, which you can see right here, this portion here that my cursor is currently over would be subdivided off and would remain within the A1 and F1 zones as a separate lot, and the remaining portion, which is this this T shape on its side there, would form part of the area that's proposed to be rezoned for the campground development. And that area is approximately 3 to 3.5 acres in size. And then the portion of the southern property is, as you can see from this map, is somewhat of an irregularly shaped parcel, would extend this way, and it wraps around a separate parcel here, and would extend down here, while the remaining portion of the property, which extends southward down towards the valley floor, is not being proposed to be rezoned. So this portion that is being sought for rezoning is about approximately 22.5 acres. So the total area of the two portions of each property being sought to be rezoned is about 25.5 acres in total. And you'll note, looking at this aerial photo, that quite a significant portion of the area in question for rezoning is vegetated. There's quite a bit of dense forest coverage on it, which will be demonstrated in some photos later in the presentation, and as well there's quite a steep and pronounced slope. So the upper part here and on the top of this portion is really on the North Mountain, and there's quite a significant steep drop proceeding into the valley floor. So this is a future land use map of the subject property and the surrounding area. And you'll note there are two designations. So there's the agricultural designation, and then it transitions into the forestry designation as part of the future land use map. This is the zoning map, and you'll note that the zoning map and the previous slide, the future land use map, are very similar. The portion which falls in the agricultural designation is in the A1 zone, and that bold black line is what separates the agricultural zone from the forestry or F1 zone. So it kind of, the portions of the two properties straddle where those two zones and those two designations transition. So this is a generalized soil capability map, and so this shows within that kind of teal hatching the area being sought for rezoning. And you'll note that the portions of the property which are excluded from consideration for rezoning in this kind of salmon colored area here are the Class 2 and Class 3 soils, whereas the area that's being sought for rezoning, both within the A1 zone and within the F1 zone, are either considered Class 5 soil or unclassified soils as well. So this is an aerial photograph of the subject property. There's been a bit of clearing here, but you'll note the forested areas beyond that, and you can start to see where the slope begins. So this is looking kind of in a southeast direction, kind of towards the valley floor, and this is about 600-700 feet into the subject property. This is an example of a walking trail which can be found on the subject property. These photos, as you might imagine, were taken in the winter on the 7th of January of this year. So this is again a subject photo kind of looking in that southeast direction. You'll note there's a significant amount of rock on the subject property in question, and you can start to see again the slope that extends down from the North Mountain towards the valley floor, and it's quite pronounced. This is another photograph extending from the North Mountain, kind of looking at the slope and the vegetative cover. This is about 600 to 700 feet in from Black Rock Road, and this is actually looking in the western direction. This photograph was taken in the middle of the afternoon, and you can see the sun there. This is a photograph which really demonstrates that kind of pronounced slope and the vista and view into the valley floor from the subject property. So with regard to the enabling policies which allow Council to consider this application, I'd remind Council again that this application is being considered under the old MPS because it was received prior to Council's adoption of the new documents in November of 2019. This application came before us on October 1st of 2019. Council's ability to consider this application is enabled under two policies in the municipal planning strategy. So policy 3.2.9.1.2, Council may consider rezoning land in the agricultural district to the recreational open space P2 zone subject to the conditions in 3.2.14, and those conditions are that the land is not located on Class 2 or Class 3 soils, not located on active Class 4 agricultural land, and that the application can meet the rezoning application can meet all applicable policies of the municipal planning strategy, including the general amendment criteria, which we'll review in a few slides. So with regard to the areas which are zoned forestry or F1, policy 3.3.8.2 enables recreational open space and recreational commercial. Would require an amendment to the land use bylaw in accordance with the Rural Common Policies, subsection 3.7.8, of which policy 3.7.8.4 notes that recreational open space uses such as golf courses, driving ranges, campgrounds, and other similar uses may be permitted in accordance with the policies contained in the relevant rural district sections, of which the forestry forestry zone and forestry designation is a rural district. With regard to the general land use bylaw amendment criteria, so these are the criteria that we use when evaluating all land use bylaw map amendment applications, so that the proposal is in keeping with the intent of the municipal planning strategy, that the proposed rezoning would not have a negative impact on the municipality's finances, that there's feasibility of services offered, adequate storm drainage, and risk of pollution and contamination of water courses. So in this particular application, it meets the intent of the policies of the municipal planning strategy, and it's not judged to have a negative impact on the municipality's finances. On-site services for sewer and water would be found on the site, and storm drainage is adequate for the proposed use. As part of staff's review, we sought comment from the Department of Lands and Forestry, which confirmed that there's no species at risk, sensitive habitats, and no enhanced risk for water courses as a result of the proposed amendment to the land use bylaw. Continuing on, that the municipal continuing on with policy 6.2.2, the general amendment criteria, that the form of the development is suitable, that the land use is compatible for the proposed change, that the road networks, traffic generated by the proposed use, and the access to the site are suitable and deemed acceptable, and that overall the site is suitable for the proposed rezoning and the proposed use. So in this particular case, the area is suitable for the form of development proposed through the rezoning. The land use in the surrounding area would be compatible for the type of uses that would be permitted with the rezoning. DTR was contacted with regard to the road networks and deemed that the road networks were adequate. No further traffic analysis would be required, and that the road network is sufficient for the proposed uses, and that access to the site could be achieved as well. And finally, the site is deemed suitable for the particular form of use that would be permitted under the proposed rezoning. So moving on with the land use bylaw amendment process. As I mentioned, this application was received on October 1st of 2019. A public information meeting was held on January 13th, 2020 in the community of Grafton. 18 residents were notified of the public information meeting via letter mail, and it was advertised in the Valley Journal Advertiser on December 31st of 2019. Staff have completed their review. PAC considered this application on May 12th, 2020 and forwarded a positive recommendation. First reading was held on June 2nd, 2020. The 18 residents were again notified of the public hearing, and that public hearing was advertised on the 20th and 27th of June in the Chronicle Herald. We're here at the public hearing, which would be followed by second reading and a 14-day appeal period as mandated by the Municipal Government Act. Now, given that we are doing this meeting remotely, there is a commenting period of 14 days, and members of the public who wish to comment on this application can provide comment via telephone or email, and they can contact me directly at 902-690-6173 or via email wrobinson-mushcat@countyofkings.ca, and they can also visit the website for links for commenting, countyofkings.ca/planning.